Blog Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. This is Jocelyn Linton. I'm coming into the higher calling, and so those who are listening to me on blogtalkradio.com/coming into the higher calling, welcome, and also those who are listening to me through Speaker, www.speaker, that's SPREAKER.com/Jocelyn Linton tracks apostrophe S. Welcome to the show. It's today it's the 27th of August 2016, and the time now is 12:22 a.m. So this is the British Standard Time. So it's just gone past midnight, and I hope all is well with yourselves. It's well, I don't really like to mention these things, but I was just thinking, there's quite some hysteria going on in the news. There was a massive, I'm going to say 6.2 earthquake that took place in Italy, and not quite good on the pronunciation of the place. Now, regularly we seem to be hearing, we've been hearing it now since I would quite frequently on a regular occurrence since the year 2012. We've been hearing about earthquakes, planes disappearing, recently planes falling. We've been hearing of sinking ships, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, fire. We're also hearing conflicts and feuds, and some fatalities and atrocities taking place. And I'm really thinking about this, not the sense that I'm trying to bring an awareness on you or bring a point a finger on you and say, oh, look, the time is coming now, the end is nigh, or wag my finger at you and say, ha 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 ha, judgment day is approaching. No, I'm really thinking about the sequence events that's really taking place, and some may call this the trumpet blast. You see, the trumpet, and I think in the old English days, before they had the TV, television and the radio, the news had to get around, and they would blow the trumpet. And then the scroll will be rolled out, and the news would be given to the people. Yeah. So before the news came, the trumpet blast, and then hohoy hohoy, and then the news will be given. So this is what I mean by the trumpet blast. That there is something to awaken, to alert the people that some news is to be given. You see, and I'm really thinking about the trumpet blast. Can you say that what's been taking place, is it really a trumpet blast? I mean, is anyone stirring, anyone perking up, anyone listening and hearing and then knowing what to do upon the news? You see, because we've got the floods. We had Katrina some time ago. That was a major headline. And we've had several tornadoes. We've had lots of wildfires, and particularly in the California area of America. Floods just about touching every part of the earth. And then we're hearing incidents like we're hearing on the evil side, which has nothing to do with the elements of the earth speaking, but we're hearing atrocities. We're hearing mass murder, mass killing taking place. We seem to be more aware of feud and conflicts between nations and within the nations itself. We're hearing people talking out a bit more, standing up for their rights, which was before when they were acceptable. Now people are coming forward and speaking out and demanding to have more honor to themselves. we're hearing people, there's a sort of economical tilting going on, not quite sure which way the pot is going to tilt, if at all it will tilt. We're hearing like trains derailing. We're hearing these are the atrocities. We're hearing trains derailing. We're hearing collisions taking place. Bad landing of planes. Some of the planes are bursting in fire, and I'm just thinking, is this what we call the trumpet call? You know, the elements. You know, I could probably see with the floods and the wildfire. I can definitely see the tornadoes, the hurricanes. Yes, and you know, with the sea coming up onto the land, I can kind of see with that, because I know what's taking place there. You see, the Lord had spoken to me to come through with the message. And can I tell you, folks, this is the climate change message. This is a climate change message. But now we're dealing with the atrocities, the fatalities, and the wickedness of one to another because of feud and conflicts. The devastation of killing, mass murder, in such a brutal way, the brutality behind it. And people are left so despaired, so in grief, so unknowing what to do, and wanting to know whether they should flee and migrate. And then who will accept them when they flee and migrate? How many people are willing to accept them? And then what's going to happen when they just uproot themselves and go somewhere else? And I'm thinking, is this what they call the trumpet call? I'm trying to make sense of all this. What is actually taking place here? Because, you know, in reference to the Holy Bible, and then when we, you know, we could take it from various spots. We can take it from the Old Testament, which is the fundamental of the whole epic of the Bible. The Old Testament is the main message. Yes. And then if we were really to study the finer parts of the Old Testament, can I tell you, folks, that we would realize that actually we're still in the Old Testament. We have not yet arrived into the New Testimony, because the Lord has made promises in the Old Testament that we have yet to fulfill. And then he makes another promise for the New Testament, which signifies that we have not yet attained the second testimony. You see? And now this may confuse you, because we've grown up knowing the Bible as the Old Testament and the New Testament. And the New Testament starts from the arrival of Jesus. Okay? And yes, there is a truth. There is a truth. But it's the way the story has been depicted. And let me take my time, because I know that I'm giggling here. I know that already there are people who has decided to listen to me, and now I've thrown a little spanner into the works of their minds, and they want to kind of switch off because, hey, I'm talking something different and adverse, and it's going to offend their belief, you see, and them looking loyal to the belief, you see, and they don't want that. They don't want because can I tell you, we've really been force-fed religion. Now, I'm not trying to create a controversy here. You see, I'm not trying to convert, and I didn't even know that I was going to go in this way of speech. Otherwise, I would have started this podcast quite earlier on, you see. But what I'm saying to you is, we're hearing the trumpet, and yet, but look what's taking place. Can we really call that the trumpet call? And then I'm saying to you that, to get the fundamentals of the whole message of the Bible that can lead us into the New Testament, I'm saying that we're still in the Old Testimony. We have yet to come into the New Testimony according to what the prophets of the Old Testament are saying. And I'm saying Do not allow this to throw you off course. Do not allow a spirit of division to come and say, don't listen any further. But listen on and hear the case here. Because we have a right to know what's taking place. And now let me take you back to what happened this week in Italy, where the 6.2 magnitude of 6.2 magnitude of earthquake shook the place, and the Prime Minister had to declare the town, the village, no more, because everything was ruined everything was ruined there. I was just pulling it up on the Google here. Yes. So Italy earthquake, more than 2,000 forced to live in camps. Yes. Amatrice, Italy, desperately needing food and shelter. More than 2,000 Italians are taking refuge in makeshift camps after this week's powerful earthquake killed at least 281 people and flattened entire villages. Camps have been set up in several affected areas, including Amatrice, the hardest hit town, where hundreds of people were killed and buildings, many from the 14th century, crumbled in the aftershock. Okay, and I'm taking this from I'm on the internet here. I typed it in on Google and it's brought up CNN. Okay, so what a trumpet call! What a trumpet call for those who survived the earthquake, but not very much for those who didn't survive the earthquake. So, and the Lord says that the dead cannot praise Him. So, let me come back to wherever I've been saying here. So, I'm talking about the trumpet call. What do we expect on the trumpet call? And look what's taken place this week. And can I tell you, it was also a prophecy that I made a week or two before because of a dream that I had. I dreamt that there was a monumental place, a very special monumental place that began to emerge from the sand, and it had an opening, and some people went in there and they saw beautiful gold, and they began to steal the monuments. And as they were taking up the monuments to come, the ground began to shudder. But yet they were determined to take these monuments, and they began to roll on the ground, holding on to the monuments. And the earth started to shake and shake. And this was sand dunes all over. But they rolled and they were determined to keep it. And the earth began to quake. And I can't remember, but I knew from my own experience that's a warning. So I put it out on the prophetic blog. But at the time it looked like India, you see. And then I saw in the news about Timbuktu, and I know that Timbuktu is a place, once upon a time it was a place of high knowledge and high spiritual knowledge. But since then it's been demolished, and it doesn't show anything near to what it used to be. And so I gave another warning saying, take care of removing anything from that place, because it can cause an earthquake. And lo and behold, the earthquake took place, and they're looking at the plates of the earth to see if the plates had shifted, and that can cause this earthquake in this particular spot. And they saw that there is an African plate that goes around Africa and swerves around Italy. So that maybe that plate had shifted, you see, and so that particular location felt the impact. And so now I can say, well, yes, maybe there is a trumpet call. And because of the message that I carry in me for the climate change, I can strongly relate to this. But I'm not going to talk about it in this session, you see, because it may get a little bit too deep and a bit too